Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another broadcast of the Lawrence Report. On tonight's broadcast, we'll be discussing episode 8, which is the season finale of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. And y'all, I have had a blast with this series right here. In fact, I wish that Camp Half Blood was actually a real thing. I would love to go there during the summer, but of course, I know I have to be like a demigod. But yeah, this series has been such a joy to watch right here. And I must say, it was kind of a somber moment for me with this series. We know that, of course, spoilers. I know everybody saw this episode last night, but we know that the actor Lance Reddick, we know that he passed away. We know that he was playing the role of Zeus in this series. And I believe this might have been one of his last acting roles. So I just want to say rest in power to this brother, rest in peace to him. Percy and the whole cast actually gave him a nice little shout out within this movie right here. But yes, just want to say rest in peace to Lance Reddick as the great, powerful Zeus and Percy Jackson. Now, so far, when it comes to Percy Jackson, I've been reading The Hollywood Reporter, Deadline. Those are my two places when it comes to all things Hollywood, right? I have not seen any updates about Percy Jackson getting renewed for season 2, but I'm 100% sure that I believe maybe next week, this is just my speculation, I could be wrong. I believe very, very soon we are going to hear about a renewal of Percy Jackson. Because again, this show right here is breaking so many numbers, so many records, so many people viewing this show right here on Disney Plus. So fingers crossed for Percy Jackson getting renewed. Now let's get into episode 8. All right, so episode 8, we pick off right from where we came off from episode 7. Percy, Annabeth, and Grover, they are on the beach right here getting ready to take on Ares, right? And when it comes to taking on Ares, Percy ends up making a deal with him. They both pull out their swords and they get ready to go at it. But Percy makes a deal saying, hey, if I draw first blood, you give up the helm of darkness, right? And, Ares is this big, powerful dude. And, at first when they go at it, I'm like, oh my God, Percy's about to get stomped. Because, Ares, he started kicking him around like a rag doll, right? But the one thing I love about Percy is his heart and his determination. He never gives up. He never throws in the towel. We have seen his progression over every episode, right? How he was scared at first to have these abilities, to find out that he's a demigod. Now over time, he has officially been embracing his role, which I'm happy about. So yeah, it seems like Ares is going to throw him around like a rag doll, but, don't you worry. Don't you wait. Don't you fret not. Percy has the ocean behind him, right? So, he ends up calling upon the ocean ends up basically helping to save the day for Percy, right? So the ocean waves that come in, they crash Ares' party basically. And then that's when Percy, he gets his sword and he does actually draw first blood. And, Ares says, well, you can best believe, you've made an enemy out of me for a lifetime. I'm just paraphrasing what he said right here. And he does end up giving up the helm of darkness. So after the battle is over, Percy and the crew, they turn around, they notice this cottage, right? And Percy think that, well, maybe my mom is there at this cottage. I made all these deals with these guys. Like maybe she's at this cottage, right? So they go to the cottage and it's not exactly his mother. It's actually Alecto. We saw her, I think, in one of the previous episodes. She was like in the very, very beginning of one episode. I can't remember which one. But, she is basically there to collect this helm of darkness. And Annabeth is basically begging him and Grover. They're like, please don't do it. You're not going to come back alive, things of that nature. But again, Percy has never been scared of the moment, especially in the second half of the series, I believe, right? So for good luck, Annabeth, she takes off her necklace and she hands it, she puts it around Percy's neck, saying, you're going to need all the luck that you can get. And now we see Percy, he's journeying up to the Empire State Building, which is basically Mount Olympus. He's like, he tells the attendant that, hey, I'm here to see Zeus. And I didn't make an appointment. because I'm real. Like, I just want to see Zeus. I need to talk to him. So he does finally get his opportunity to talk to Zeus. Now we get a chance to see Percy in action with Lance Riddick, aka Zeus, and Percy tells Zeus that I tried to get the thunderbolt to you. I didn't take it. I know who took it. It was actually Kronos, but Zeus is like, he looks down at him in a very powerful and very deep voice. He says, but you failed. But he says, Percy says, I believed and I know that it was actually Kronos is the one who took the Master Thunderbolt. This kid right here has a lot of heart. He's trying to, basically have this deep conversation with Zeus, but Zeus is not having it. Zeus is like, you know who I am. I don't want to hear this small talk right now. And, Zeus is Zeus is trying to tell him like, listen, I spared your life. You return the Thunderbolt, you can leave. But, Percy wants to stop this war between Poseidon and Zeus. Again, Zeus is not trying to hear it. Zeus ends up throwing the lightning bolt. Well, it looks like he's winding back, getting ready to throw it. But Poseidon steps in. He's like, listen, I'll surrender if you spare my son. And that whole scene right there was absolutely fire. From there, we see, Percy, Poseidon, he takes a pearl and he sends Percy back to Camp Half-Blood. And of course, the Camp Half-Blood, everybody's celebrating, everybody's happy for Percy and things of that nature, right? Now, Percy is back at camp, but he sees Clarice. And for a long time, we thought that Clarice might have been the one who took the Master Lightning Bolt. But in fact, it was someone else. We get a chance to see Percy and Luke, they interact, right? And Percy starts to put the pieces together as him and Luke are talking. He realizes that, when it comes to Chiron finding out about the situation with Clarice, Luke never said anything. And remember, it was a prophecy. It was an oracle that said, a friend will betray you. And we thought that the friend was either going to be Annabeth or Grover, but it turns out the friend who actually took the lightning bolt was actually Luke. Luke is claiming that, basically it's time for us to be on our own. We shouldn't have to be under our parents' watchful eye. Like, he wants to escape to another world. Basically, he has his sword. He's like, Percy, come join me. Like, we can do this thing together. Percy is upset. Like, how could you betray me? And they start battling. And when the battle is finally over, Annabeth appears. She appears because she has the power to go use her invisibility. She says, I've heard everything. And Luke ends up escaping. He takes that sword that he had. He goes off to another world. And now our journey is basically concluding with, Percy and Annabeth and Grover, they're all meeting, one final time before they say their goodbyes, right? And Percy tells Annabeth, just be a kid. Basically saying it's time for us to take off our cool. I think this is not only for Annabeth, but I think this is for him too. Like, they just want to relax now and finally just be kids right there. So they all hug and they all agree that we need to meet back here again next year. And I love this trio. I love the pact that they have formed, the bond that all three of them have formed. For me, this series has been so much fun. I wouldn't call it a kids series. I know some people call it a kids series, but I saw the numbers that this show was doing, and a lot of people have been watching Percy Jackson. So I'm hoping that we will get that season 2 of Percy Jackson. If you like what you saw here today, please feel free to comment, like, share, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've had so much fun covering this series. A lot of good vibes, talking about the gods, Percy, Annabeth, Grover, all those guys right there. It's been a blast. So Percy Jackson, great series. And as always, thank you for tuning in to the Lawrence Report.